Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to go over how to find a daily bias. Okay, and this is going to be a very simple way you can find a daily bias using ICT SMC sort of strategies. So we're on the daily time frame here, and we're going to kind of cycle down daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. But starting on the daily, we're going to be looking for gaps, right? So I'm kind of in replay mode here. So you can see right here we have a daily fair value gap, right? We are holding this fair value gap, okay? It's as simple as this. We're holding this daily fair value gap, right? So ideally, right, we're going to be targeting bullish. We're bullish, targeting a bigger sort of liquidity pool. So higher time frame liquidity pool. So we're bullish. We're holding this fair value gap right here. We fast forward. We grab that liquidity. And now we have another fair value gap here. So we're going to see what happens if we hold this. Next day we move into it and we hold it. So next day we're still expecting bullish moves, right? We're bullish. And we do end up moving up again, right? Let's see, we have another gap here. Let's see if we hold it, right? We do hold it. And, you know, obviously you want to be able to tell on these the days where you're trying to figure out if the daily is going to hold. That's when you move down to the hourly and the 4 hour to see, is there something we're holding in those, right? Because then you can have an intraday bias, right? Our daily bias right now, bullish, right? Can be targeting, you know, bigger moves probably towards daily liquidity up there, right? But anyway, we're bullish. We're holding that gap. We do end up continuing up and grabbing that liquidity. Okay, and on our way up, we had another gap right here. Okay, now since we don't know right now if we're holding that gap, I mean technically we are because we kind of moved down towards it and held up. We're still pretty bullish, but we can move down in the 4 hour and see if we're holding something in the 4 hour, right? You can see in the 4 hour we're actually holding this gap right here. So we are bullish on the 4 hour as well. And then the 1 hour, we're also bullish. We have a gap here. We're holding that gap, right? So we're bullish on every time frame, right? So if you move back to the daily, we're bullish still. Look at that. Continuing up. And here we have another gap. It's not the strongest gap, right? You usually want 3 candles. So we're bullish on the daily right now. Let's see the 4 hour. There's a gap here, right? Holding that gap, right? Move to the 1 hour. We are holding this gap on the 1 hour, right? So again, we're bullish, right? We fast forward, we do move down into it, but you know, higher time frame we are bullish. We actually end up holding this 1 hour gap. Okay, so generally still bullish. We did end up breaking through those, so let's see now. This isn't right, obviously, 100% of the time, but it does help you choose your daily bias. So we have a bearish gap there. On the 4 hour, we also have a little bit of a gap right here. It's very small. We are holding that, and we have a hourly gap that we are holding to the downside. So I'd say we're kind of looking bearish for temporarily, right? We move down a little bit and bearish, moving down into this previous gap. So if we hold this gap, then we're looking bullish. Let's see. We end up holding that gap, right? And if we keep checking the 4 hour and 1 hour, it'll help us determine, you know, what our daily bias can be, right? 4 hour time frame, we do have move a gap there. If we could fast forward to the next day, right, which is right about here, then it looks like we're holding that, so relatively bullish, right? And we looks like we're kind of lagging out there, but yeah, generally bullish, right? Okay, that's working. Okay, so we were bullish there. That's what I was trying to get out, and we're up there. So we also have a nice gap here and we move down into this gap. We're holding that gap pretty nicely. So expecting bullish moves again, and you can find a bigger liquidity target, right? So ideally, you know, liquidity up here would be a big target. That's pretty far away, but it is a target, right? If we fast forward, we move into it a little more. We look down onto a smaller time frame. I'm sure we're holding some other gap. There's a 4-hour gap here that we were holding, which kind of gave us a hint that we were bullish, right? And 1 hour, really not too much. A little bit of a gap there, a little bit of a gap right here as well, right? If we fast forward that, let's see. Yeah, relatively bullish, right? Move down into this gap, 4-hour gap. So it can help you determine your bias, basically, right? It's not going to be right 100% of the time, but if you combine all your time frames together, it will definitely help you determine your daily bias. Okay, so just another example here. Let's use this. So we have daily fair value gap there. On the 4-hour, there's another gap there. 1 hour, we are holding a 1-hour gap here as well. So if we fast forward the next day, this is on an hourly time frame, right? We are pretty bullish and we are continuously moving up, right? We are creating more bullish fair value gaps, right? Gap there. We have a gap right here as well that we held, right? So looks like we're holding, so bullish, right? If we just fast forward this, you can tell over time, right? Sort of your daily bias. And it should help by choosing your daily bias. If we have a bullish fair value gap and we are holding it, so we move into it and we hold it, then you can expect bullish move, right? And if we, you know, bounce around it and then we end up breaking through the bullish fair value gap, then we are looking bearish, basically. It's as simple as that. And if we have a bearish fair value gap and we break through the upside, then we're looking bullish. So hopefully that can kind of help you guys determine a daily bias. Daily biases are useful just to get a bigger picture of where you think the market's going. So yeah, it's good to know. Just again, right here, kind of holding this gap. See on the 4-hour, looks like we're holding this 1 hour fair value gap really nicely there. So relatively bullish there. So we'll see, you know, if we can move up towards this liquidity. And we did, right? So hopefully that helps determine your daily bias. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know if you did. And yeah, peace guys.